Before we get into this special weekend edition of Just the Truth, let me tell you about the latest special from Mike Lindell at MyPillow. The standard MyPillow, normally $49.98, for a limited time only, just $14.88 with promo code Joey. Go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio listener specials, and see all the specials. There's a limited quantity of just 10 at this special price. That's $14.88 with promo code Joey. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studio. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com.
Joining me on our guest line, Congressman William Timmons from South Carolina's 4th District. How are you, sir?
Joey, good. Good to be with you. Crazy times down here in Florida. We had an incredible night last night with the president, and I'm more excited about midterms than ever.
Yep. Well, let's talk about that. What were some of the key priorities that the president emphasized to you guys in your meeting?
I think the number one takeaway was that we have to pass the Save America Act, and the president is willing to lean in, and he said that he was going to veto anything that we sent him, and if it wasn't the Save America Act. And he actually added 2 provisions to it, and the theory is that all of these issues, there's 5 issues, all of these issues are 90-10 issues. Democrats are polling in the high 80s for them. So number one, you have to prove that you're a citizen in order to register to vote. Number 2, you have to show an ID to vote. Number 3, you have to no mail-in ballot unless very strict exceptions. And then no men and women's sports and no transgender surgeries for minors.
Yeah.
Those are the 5 things that the president wants on his desk, and he wants it in one bill. And it's simple. We got to save America, and that's the way to do it.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. Now, the House, you guys have passed the bill. It's over in the Senate. Is there any hope that that it can come out of the Senate?
So the Save America Act, as passed by the House, did not include the no men and women's sports and no transgender surgeries for minors.
Yeah.
But so our plan is to refile it, include those provisions, and then send it over to the Senate. And it's bizarre. I mean, there's this issue of the filibuster, and I don't think it's a good idea to get rid of the filibuster, but I want to hear these Democrats talk about why they're against these issues that 85% of the Democrats, 98% of Republicans want these things. 85% of the Democrats want these things. So I think that we need to enforce the rules of the filibuster, make them sit up there and talk for hours and hours about why they think this is bad policy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Congressman William Timmons is our guest today. Iran was, of course, a major topic of the conference yesterday as well. What message did President Trump deliver to you guys about the ongoing conflict and where we're headed with that?
You know, for 50 years, Iran has chanted death to America and have just funded terrorist regimes. And I mean, they're the largest state-sponsored terrorism in the world. So the president finally said enough's enough. They were prepared to attack, and the president issued the order to preemptively attack because their attack was imminent. And we can't continue to allow countries to operate this way. So the president has said they have to unconditionally surrender and change their ways. And, we had a lot of fun stories, but I think the message was clear. Peace through strength works, but you have to be strong and you have to be willing to fight in order to avoid fighting.
Yeah. One of the biggest issues that Americans are talking about right now, of course, is the quick jump in gasoline prices. I know the president talked about that too, about attacking Iran's hold on the shipping in that region. How does the administration see that strategy translating into lower energy prices here at home, and how long could that take?
The president's exploring all options. I think the biggest issue for energy prices is getting new nuclear online and continuing to drive the cost of oil and gas down through a variety of measures. I think that permitting and regulation are 2 huge components, but affordability generally is the number one issue right now facing Congress and the White House, and we're doing everything we can to tackle it. But energy prices are a huge component of that because they go into everything. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Every service requires energy, and so tackling energy affordability is very top of mind.
Yeah. Now, another topic that the president addressed, too, was the summit at Doral, where he discussed with Caribbean and Latin American leaders building this alliance with countries there in that region. How significant could that kind of partnership be for U.S. national security and our continued security at the border?
It's huge. The fact that we have these multi-billion-dollar narco-terrorist organizations, there's about a half dozen of them, operating in Latin America is just unacceptable. And I mean, you saw what occurred in Mexico recently. The Mexican government killed one of the cartel leaders, and there was mayhem. And I mean, it was incredible violence that occurred as a result of that. But these are multi-billion-dollar organized criminal organizations. I mean, we cannot allow that to occur. And we definitely can't allow it to occur miles away from U.S. sovereign territory. So the president is appropriately taking action. He's working with our allies and all the other governments. And I mean, listen, we have the most lethal fighting force in the world. And we are not going to stand by while thousands, tens of thousands of Americans die from drug overdose. It's just destroying so many lives in our country. And so I think it's incredible that it took this long for us to stand up to these organized criminal groups. I mean, it's long overdue.
Yep. Congressman Timmons, the president also talked about Cuba and suggested that the current regime may be in its last moments, hinting at negotiations happening possibly through Secretary of State Marco Rubio. What role should the U.S. play in encouraging a transition to freedom in Cuba as well?
Peace through strength works, and when you have dictatorships that are enslaving their society and not enforcing the rule of law and allying with Russia and China against our national security miles away from the United States, I mean, it's clearly important to us. Secretary Rubio is doing an incredible job, and I think he is well positioned to solve yet another one of our problems.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned that the whole idea of you guys being together in Florida is to talk about the midterms and unifying the Republican caucus heading into the midterms. Do you think that was accomplished? You really feel good about what we're facing in November?
Well, we just got down here last night, and the president gave us a welcome speech. So today's the hard work that has to occur. We got to get all of our ducks in a row, get everybody on the same page. And I mean, the biggest thing is reconciliation, because we don't need the Democrats to do that. And we need to find the pay-fors to save the taxpayers trillions of dollars and change policy to align with our interests to maximize the chance of people showing up in November and saying they're better off than they were 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing. And affordability is top of mind. Healthcare is another major issue we got to deal with. But we got the policies that work, and the Democrats just have, I mean, they don't have much these days. They don't have leaders. They don't have policies. They don't have a plan. So we got to show the American people that we have a plan and that it is going to make their lives better.
Yeah.
And that's what we're here to do. And I'm optimistic.
Yeah. Congressman William Timmons, is always a pleasure. Be safe, and we'll talk with you again soon.
Be well, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Your comments are welcome on the Firmin Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Emails always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. If you live in the upstate of South Carolina, you have to know about Travelers Rest. It's become the center of activity in the northern Greenville County area. As we head into spring, things will get busy in this small town at the foot of the mountains. One way to keep up with what's going on is to subscribe to Travelers Rest Here. It's a weekly newsletter with all the information on the latest happenings in Travelers Rest. Just go to travelersresthere.com and subscribe. Joining me today is Lacey Cagley, the owner and editor of Travelers Rest Here. Welcome, Kate. It's good to talk with you again, Lacey.
Yeah, thank you for having me back. I love it.
So why don't you just give us a quick overview of what's happening in Travelers Rest? Of course, you know, spring is here, and the farmers market will be opening up soon, and you have some other activities. So just kind of give us an overview.
Sure. I mean, it's a great time to be in TR, as always. We've got a new part of the trail, actually, right near the high school called the Gold Line. So it heads out to the YMCA. So that gives you some new places to ride your bike or to run. Got a new business in TR called Tailwinds Outfitters. It's kind of like a men's boutique. It's run by the same kind of dynamic duo that runs Birdie Boutique, two fabulous women who have lived in TR their whole lives, went to TR High School, close friends, and they've started this Tailwinds. It's, like I said, men's clothing, but it's really cool because you'll also find some actual local vendors inside there. Like there's a guy in TR who makes Bombas, these really cool shoes for men, and so his stuff is in there. Kent Wool socks. Kent Wool is local also to Greenville. Mm-hmm. So they've really combined some neat men's clothing with local makers, and that's really cool. I don't know if you've been to the newest coffee shop in TR called De Cafe. It's Costa Rican and really incredible. Really great vibe, but also just delicious, cool family running it. Excellent house-made pastries. So that's great for a stop when you've been on the trail. And of course, event-wise, we've got all kinds of things happening. Our farmers market is getting ready, gearing up for the season. The first farmers market is April 28th. It's their plant sale, and it's kind of like a pre-season sale. And after that, every Saturday, from 8:30 to noon at Trailblazer Park, you're going to find all your favorites, over 100 vendors. We get lots of guests coming out for the farmers market. It's such a great opportunity to support. I mean, it's hyper local. Like all the farms are having to, everything's growing within 50-mile radius. So it's a big deal and really supports all our local farmers. It's a great thing to be a part of and to come out on Saturdays to do. Let's see, there's some painting happening downtown. You might notice on Main Street, the whole strip of buildings where, former Leper Forest, now it's Treehouse Cafe, Sandra Stroud's office, Cross Creek Realty, a bunch of things. It was green and kind of fading, and now it's fresh paint. Signs are going back up. It's looking good. Also, we've got a thing called the Rock Fest. It happened last year, so it's going to be the second annual, and it was really popular. It's a huge day at Trailblazer Park. It's April 4th. You got bands playing all day, super family-friendly, bounce house, food, all kinds of things. Another thing that's happening that I think is a lot of fun that I'm helping with is called Pitch a Friend Night. Have you ever heard of that?
I have not heard of Pitch a Friend, but you sent me some information. It's an interesting event, and that's coming up in just a couple of weeks, right? For folks maybe hearing about it for the first time, explain what the event is and how it works.
Yeah, I'd love to. So it's a nationwide organization called Pitch a Friend. And the idea is to kind of, if you're a single person, you have been single for a minute, you know that the dating apps are like abysmal. It's a terrible way to meet people, right? And so it was this movement to kind of be like, how can we meet people in real life? So there's chapters all over the U.S., but Greenville just got one. And so it's called Pitch a Friend. And the idea is that it's a fun night. You're going to, they're held, like Pitch a Friend will take their kind of promotion materials and they'll go to different areas. And so they've done 2 in Greenville so far, and we're hosting the first one in Travelers Rest on March 28th. And so the host will come, and people have signed up in advance to do this part. So basically, it's like saying, hey, I've got this great friend, and here's why you'd like them. And you'd make this PowerPoint presentation that says, Sue loves to hike, and, she loves to meet her friends, and you'll have pictures, and someone will kind of have like just a quick 3 to 5 minute PowerPoint presentation saying like, hey, here's my friend, and they're awesome, which is just fun. And the night is open to anybody. Like it's, singles, families, whatever. It's a very family-friendly event because it's just a fun night. And so you don't have to pitch to go. You can just go and support your single friends. We're going to have a food truck. It's a Latin Mexican food truck called La Catrina Mia. And she's kind of a new food truck, which is fun. So you can get dinner. It's a free event. And then there's safe ways. Like the Pitch a Friend has organized all these ways that, like, if you're there and you're like, oh, I'd love to go out with that person. Or, you know what, my friend isn't here, but they would love this person. That they'd be a great fit. Then there's some safe ways that you kind of contact Pitch a Friend, and they, allow you to contact the other person, and they can decide like, oh, do I want to go on a date with this person? So it's kind of like a modern day matchmaking, but the whole event is still fun for everyone, even if you're not looking for a match. It's just a fun way to meet friends and get out. And the Nest is a newish venue in TR that's right across from the high school. It's outdoors. Space for a food truck, a big open lawn. And so it's just a really fun place, too, to hang out. It's right on the trail, so you can bike to this or walk to this from your house or wherever. So that makes it another element of a good time. And we have another, like some vendors will be there, like a place called the Village Clubhouse, who's a co-working space, but we'll be there promoting things, too. And so you just have a chance to meet people in the community and connect in a way that maybe you wouldn't have been brave enough to do without your friends saying, like, hey, here's this fun idea. So definitely encouraging lots of people to come to that. And the more the merrier, since this is our first time trying anything like this in TR. So it's brand new to us.
Sure.
Yeah.
Lacey Kegley is my guest today. All right, so we need to kind of break this down. So let me make sure I understand this. People actually create you said PowerPoint presentations to pitch their single friend?
Yes, and I'm probably old school. Maybe they don't use the word PowerPoint anymore.
I use PowerPoint too, but I think the point is, so they literally put together a presentation about their friend.
Yes, literally do that. So you'll sign up ahead for that. Yeah. So you'll literally have a presentation and you'll share and then you'll stand there that night and say click through the photos and be like, hey, my friend loves, whatever it is they like. They have 3 dogs and they're looking for a guy who also likes dogs or, whatever it is. But yeah, so they're literally making like a slideshow to say, my friend's awesome. And that's really fun for singles too, because then you don't have the weight on you to say anything about yourself. Like they're doing it for you, and that's fun.
Yeah. So is it sort of more of is the vibe more comedy show, matchmaking event, or just a fun night out with friends?
It's more a fun night out with friends, less comedy show. I do think there's definitely the serious element of matchmaking. Like it is, I think the design of Pitch a Friend came because it was so hard for people to meet other people in real life. We kind of live lives now where a lot of us work remotely or, so we're not meeting people in the same ways. And I think it was just born of a helpful desire to say, let's have fun and take a little bit of the stress off of meeting people.
Yeah. I noticed that Pitch a Friend is happening in cities across the country. I mean, this is a national type thing. This is the first time, as you mentioned, in Travelers Rest. Why bring it to Travelers Rest? How did that come about?
Well, that's a good question. So it just is new to Greenville, too. It's been here maybe in Greenville, maybe 6 or 7 months. And, a huge part of my job is social media and finding things online. And so I just kept seeing people sharing this Pitch a Friend in Greenville, and I saw them go to Southern Growl and New Realm Brewery and all these places. And so I just messaged Pitch a Friend, and I was like, hey, what would it take to get this in TR? And he's like, it would just take a place. It would take a place and a team wanting to do it. And I was like, I've got your people, I know. Because I actually am a single person myself, and while I'm not, actively out there pitching myself, it's something that I'm reminded of now as being a single person, an unexpectedly single person at this stage in my life. It's something I'm reminded of. It's hard to meet people, and it's we all live busy lives, and it's hard to. So something that aids that in a way that's actually fun seemed to me appealing, and I figured there were probably more people like me, and I think that's what we're seeing is that it is hard to meet people, and a leg up is a nice thing, a way to make it feel casual and fun and not so high pressure, I think, is what we're after. So I just kind of reached out to him and said, what if we do this? And then Chelsea at the Nest was like, yeah, let's have it here. Let's all connect. So it's just been a fun, like so many things in TR, you get an idea, you talk to the right person, and then it's like, yes, let's bring this, let's do this. And I think that's kind of how it was born. Yeah,
interesting. Lacey Kegley is my guest today. Lacey is the owner-editor of Travelers Rest Here. You can find out all that's happening in TR by going to travelsresthere.com, Be sure and subscribe to the weekly newsletter. It's full of information about the latest happenings in TR. So Lacey, I think you said you don't have to necessarily be single to come. I mean, so you're inviting couples, friends, just anyone who wants to show up for a fun evening. Is that right?
Yeah, that's totally right. And even better, really. I think that's fun. Like if you're, especially say you have a friend who's single and you're coming to bring them, to convince them, because again, that's a scary part. Like, do I just go to this event by myself? But if you're there with your family, your friends, it just is a lot more fun. And I think you'll be a lot more encouraged to be like, let's meet people, let's mingle, because it's not just this high pressure situation. So yeah, and the Nest is super family friendly. Yeah. Big green grass, big outdoor games. So yeah, it's just a fun night, and you get dinner. I mean, you need to buy dinner, but you can support a local food truck. And so there's lots of, it's definitely fun for everyone.
Sure.
Yeah. And it doesn't feel like a singles only event. It doesn't have that vibe at all.
Yeah. So if someone wants to pitch their single friend, what does that involve? How do they sign up, and how should they prepare?
Yeah, that's a great question. So if you want to pitch your single friend, you do have to plan a little bit ahead. You can't come that night and do it. So you just go to pitchafriend.com, and you'll see it'll come up right away, and it'll say at the very top, like, pitch your friend. And you click that, and then they have some really straightforward, simple instructions that you just sign up. And then you have, they'll give you a timeline, but you have a couple days to create the slideshow. And you do email that slideshow in before, and that way the host, when he's coming to the event, he's already got those prepped and ready. And he does a great job, too, of, kind of managing it. So there's only so many per night, and he tries to get a mix of ages and gender, and that way there's a mix. And so it's possible, when you sign up, it's possible that they're like, okay, we've already got, a lot of people in this age range, so come to our next event for actual pitching. But you can still go to the one on March 28th, even if you didn't get a spot to put your name in, and still meet people. So it'll all go through his website, and that does take a little bit of pre-planning. But even if you don't get in for some reason, or you don't hear this and you don't go until the night before, it's too late to get online, still come, because you still can meet people. You'll still see the people being pitched. Maybe you're a person who's like, oh, I'm not quite brave enough yet to do the pitch, but I can meet people that night and then watch their pitches and see like, okay, yeah. Or maybe you've got a single best friend and you're like, man, why? I want to find a thing, like convince them to come. Be like, hey, come with me to this event, because you have a chance to meet people and, in a different way than you've been doing. So I think sometimes it takes a buddy sometimes to go with you and say, let's do this, because we all have, that single younger brother or whomever, that we're like, yeah, it's time. Let's find you somebody.
Well, it's certainly a unique, I don't know that I'd ever heard of this until you brought my attention to it. And regardless of whether or not you have a single friend or you are single, it's just a great way to meet other people in the Travelers Rest community. And it's really sort of a networking type event.
Yeah, it really, really is. Yes, in a fun way, it definitely is, with just a fun evening. And the location couldn't be better. It is, like I said, right off the trail. So you could park your car, ride your bike in, walk over, whatever, if you want. There's plenty of parking at the Nest as well. But it's such a, we're in the middle of spring now, and that happens. I think it's going to be a lovely evening just to be outside and together.
Yep, and get some good food as well. So,
yes.
Well, Lacey, it's a pleasure catching up with you again. Lots going on in Travelers Rest. As Lacey said, Farmers Market will be opening soon, the TR Rock Fest. Oh, by the way, I'm assuming you guys will have the tomato sandwich taste-off in the summer.
Oh, of course. And that's the 11th year, and that's July 25th. And, you can't buy tickets yet, but keep your eye open for the farmers market on their website and their social media, because when you can buy tickets, it goes fast. I think we usually open up for around 800-ish tickets, somewhere in that ballpark, 700 or 800. And that sounds like a ton of tickets, and it is, but they sell so fast. It's such a fun event.
Well, it's become just a huge event for the summer in TR. So keep your eyes open for that. And hey, look, just plan to visit the farmers market when it opens up in April, and I'm sure there'll be additional information about other events that are coming up there as well. And again, you can keep up with everything by subscribing at travelersresthere.com, travelersresthere.com. Lacey, thank you again for your time. Appreciate what you do, and we'll catch up again later in the spring, maybe.
Sure, I appreciate you too.
Joining us on our guest line, Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evette. Welcome. How are you?
I'm doing well, Joey. I hope you are too.
I am wonderful. Been a busy week in Columbia. The South Carolina House passed their version of the state budget. It's now headed over to the Senate. Any surprises for you in the budget?
There's always surprises in the budget, Joey. Always. But one thing I'm happy about is that we, things in our executive budget, like infrastructure, roads and bridges, those things were tackled in the budget. Those are really important things. As I travel all around the state, people want to see our infrastructure being improved, especially bridges. From people who live in those areas where bridges are under rate restriction or they're old and people are nervous about them, to our businesses, who have to find new routes because of weight restriction. And what that happens, it means they're going down secondary roads that end up getting, torn up and beat up because they were never made for that kind of weight load. So I'm always happy when I see them putting a priority. And again, the teacher pay increase that the governor and I have been asking for every year to make sure that when it comes to our teachers, something I talk an awful lot about on the trail is that when the governor and I took office, starting teacher salary pay in South Carolina was the lowest in the Southeast. They were making, I think it was $33,500 back then. We promised that by the time we left office in 2026, our starting teacher salary range would be $50,000. With the money in the budget, we will leave office this year with starting teacher salaries at $50,500, completing a campaign promise that we made back in 2019. What that means is we're keeping the best and brightest teachers here in South Carolina.
Yeah.
We're not sending them to North Carolina or Georgia. Right now at 48.5, our teachers' starting teacher salary is more than North Carolina and Georgia, and that is something that we're really proud of because, our children are our best investment. They are our future, and we have to make sure we're educating them and we're keeping the best people right here in South Carolina to do that work in the classroom, because that's not an easy job, Joey. That is not an easy
Oh, yeah. Yep. I couldn't do it.
Me either.
I've been involved over the years with junior achievement, and so occasionally that will require me to go to a classroom, and I just realized just how old I am and how little I know when I'm in the classroom with those kids.
Well, I mean, it's interesting. I have a lot of friends now that are becoming grandparents, and they are with new babies all the time, and they're like, parenting is a job for the young. You
Yep.
forget how much you're moving when you have a little one in your house, and you're just like, wow. And I think it's the same thing with teaching. You don't realize exactly how much it is trying to put, 15, 20 kids in a classroom,
Mm-hmm.
focusing all at the same time and making sure they understand what's going on. So thank you to our teachers. We should say thank you to them all the time for what they do. But I think it's when you sit down and really think about the enormous weight that they carry on their shoulders. It's an amazing feat for them. So if you have teachers listening today, we appreciate you, and we're going to continue to work hard for you.
Yes, we do. Kudos to the teachers. You're talking about the executive budget that you and the governor presented earlier in the session. Another item I noticed on there is breakfast for students. All students, regardless of income, under the House's version, will have access to breakfast. That's a big one as well.
You're right, Joe. Studies have shown a lot of our children go to school hungry. If you're hungry, it's really hard to concentrate and to learn. And so this was in the scheme of all the things we spend on. This is not a big number, but it's an important number. And so we have said offering school breakfast to all of our children, give everybody a start to the day that makes them ready to learn. And if we want to keep our kids progressing and actually achieving, and it's something we have to do. So happy that got in the budget. Now it goes over to the Senate, Joey.
Yep.
And once it goes over the Senate, it goes into conference. That's where the real strategy comes. That's where it goes from checkers to chess, I think.
Yep.
So it'll be interesting to see how everything starts to get reconciled.
Yeah. One item that did not make it, and I haven't had a chance yet because this just passed yesterday, so I haven't had a chance to talk with any of my friends in the House to kind of see what the thinking was. But one item that did not make it was gun safety in the schools. There was a proviso that would have directed the Department of Education to work with the Department of Natural Resources to come up with a program and determine the earliest appropriate grade level to teach students about firearm safety. But for some reason, that was taken out.
Yeah, that's something. I'm like you. By the time it passed yesterday, I haven't combed through it in its entirety. I want to tell people, though, there are great, DNR does some great programs when it comes to hunting safety and gun safety. So don't let that. It would be nice to have that at a base level for everybody. But for parents who really want to get their kids outdoors, out hunting, wanting to understand the appropriate, way to handle guns, DNR does some great classes. There's some online things that they do. A lot of it obviously derived around hunting, but part of hunting is safety. And so if you're looking for a resource, not all is lost, right? Look at our partners at DNR. They do a really great job with that, especially with our youth. And if you're a parent, it's a great way to get your kids to put down their phone, to turn off their gaming devices, and get them outside, get them out into nature. It shows, studies continue to show, Joey, that mentally and physically, That's exactly what our kids need. They need to get off electronics and back out in the woods, get them dirty, get them hiking, get them hunting. I think it's something that as parents we all have to really take a deep dive look at, is getting our kids off of all these devices. It's just not healthy for them.
Yep. Well, and you mentioned DNR. I would just encourage everybody to just go to their website, because they have so many programs, not only for kids, but adults as well. But they have so many programs all around the state that are just so special. And I would encourage you to check it out, because there's probably something on that website that everybody would be interested in.
Absolutely. And, Director Mulliken, he is big on ecotourism and the SC7. You and I have talked about that. That's going to be coming up in July. Everybody's looking for summertime activities. It starts in your neck of the woods. It starts in Oconee County.
Yep.
We hike through the month of July all the way to Charleston and ends up at the sea. So it goes from the mountains to the sea. And it really highlights all the beauty that South Carolina has. It's a great thing to do in July. You can jump on no matter where you are, see the beautiful waterfalls up in your neck of the woods, and hike all the way down to the ocean. Our beaches are an amazing attraction that everybody comes to South Carolina to see. So think about ways to get outside and really get your kids outside.
Yep, exactly. Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evette, always a pleasure. We'll catch up again next week.
Thanks, Joey. Everybody has a good weekend. I hope it's not cold this weekend. I mean, I keep hearing it, but I'm refusing to believe we're going to have cold weather again.
I know. Yep.
So I'm keeping the positive thoughts.
There you go. Be safe.
That's it for this special weekend edition of Just the Truth. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you haven't joined my mailing list yet, visit my website, joeyhudson.com. Click on the Connect with Joey button so that you can receive our emails and the most up-to-date news. Also, join me on my YouTube channel. Be sure and like, comment, and subscribe. Just search for Joey Hudson. As always, thanks for spending a few minutes of your day with me. Do me a favor and forward this episode to a few friends. Just click on the share button and send to your contacts. We need to build an army of conservatives to win our country back, and we can do that by continuing to share the truth with our friends and family. Keep those comments coming via the Firmin Ford text line 864-477-JOEY. Email to joey@joeyhudson.com, and I love your messages on the MyPillow message line. Again, that's 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Be sure and take advantage of the MyPillow special, just $14.88 on the standard MyPillows when you use promo code Joey. Order online at mypillow.com or call 800-893-4053. We're back again tomorrow and hope you'll plan to join us. Until then, remember, God's got this. He's still in control.